The Dow right now is over, the Dow is over $50,000. I don't know why you're laughing. You're a great stock trader, as I hear, Raskin. That's what we should be talking about. We should be talking about making Americans safe. We should be talking about, what does a Dow have to do with anything? That's what they just asked. Are you kidding?
Mr. Jordan, Mr. Jordan.
Does anyone else notice that the Absolute Cinema meme that's been going around lately looks just like the Moloch statue? Hi, my name is Anthony Gallo. I am a certified non-dual Kabbalistic healer, a Reiki practitioner, a black magician. Oh, you don't want to miss this topic, huh? And the creative mind behind Starfall. If you'd like to book a session with me, learn more about Starfall and what I provide as a practitioner, and talk to my Sammy AI, who's an expert in occult practices and a lot of other things, feel free to go to my website, seekthecode.com. Right, baby? Is that your homepage? It's certainly mine. So I didn't plan on talking about Epstein or anything related to that anytime soon, but it's so much in everyone's face. It's hard for me to make a video right now talking about like the root chakra or something like that. And besides, I was able to go into the files that have been made public and look up some occult terms, and wouldn't you know, to nobody's surprise, there's some interesting things in there. So I want to talk about that and my perspective as a black magician, someone I work with demonic forces. I would like to lend my perspective on what it is that I'm starting to see here from the reported behavior and from the files. If you've checked out any of my clips or my other videos, you'll see me often explain how running through us, all of us, we have angelic streams of consciousness and demonic streams of consciousness. And what people like to do is either suppress their parts of themselves that are a match to demonic streams of consciousness and only identify with the good parts of themselves and the good parts about life. And then they present a false self, a mask, but really just a false self. And they interact with false aspects of reality. They have like a false sense of like what the world is because they're very out of touch, out of the objective truth. The objective truth is what happens when you take in all the truths together. So anytime there's a truth that you don't want to take in, you're in some type of illusion, some type of imagination, some type of false belief about what reality is and what reality isn't. We all do it. I do it too. It's just people do it to varying degrees. This is why I practice non-duality and I work with angelic and demonic streams of consciousness. I want to take in the full picture. So because of that, there are people in the black magic community that when they connect to these different demonic streams of consciousness, whether it's Lilith or Belial, Beelzebub, Baphomet, whatever, like these higher dimensional, interdimensional, primordial beings of chaos that exist in hell, the tree of death, the Qliphoth. Unfortunately, most black magicians become a slave to these demonic streams of consciousness, and they get into it because it's like cool and like they want the power, and it's like dark and mysterious and edgy, and it's like just the ego having a field day with the power trip and the feeling different and just like the way they can present themselves in the world. That's why if you go to a lot of black magic demonology forums, you'll just see a lot of people saying they're like the reincarnation of Baal or something. Really what's happening is they're connecting to Baal so much, Baal is starting to override their sense of self, and they're existing more and more in a narcissistic bubble where it's just them and Baal. But Baal is so powerful, there's becoming less and less them and more Baal. So going about it this way will cause more fragmentation. It might lead to like money or success or like manipulating people. Like whatever like dark desires someone might have, they might be able to fulfill their goals, but it's going to stunt their evolutionary process, and it's going to really stunt their reintegration of their trauma. That's why I get into black magic and demonology. It sounds silly. So I'm going to have to speak a little bit in code, which is kind of crazy because like the people that like did these things aren't getting arrested. In fact, they're getting redacted. But me talking about what they're doing, that could get me in trouble with YouTube or TikTok or whatever, platforms are going to be uploading this on. So I'm going to have to like beat around the bush, but it'll be kind of obvious what I'm saying. So when I see these guys talking about like pizza, like at this point, if you don't know what's going on with pizza, I don't know what to tell you. Like just go look it up. Go look up Pizzagate. I'm not a QAnon guy, but that was one of the things that I saw years ago. I'm like, yeah, it's probably true. Don't know if it is, wouldn't be surprised. So these guys talk about pizza a lot, and sometimes they talk about pizza while also talking about, kids. And I make pizza. This is not code. This is not the code part. I make pizza every day, like literal pizza with like flour and stuff, gluten-free, because I have an allergy. I make pizza literally every single day. I don't talk about pizza that much. So for like billionaires that are like really health obsessed to be talking about pizza that much and grape soda, I'm not a detective or anything, but I think there's some type of code here. But what people are also discovering is the jerky thing. I looked up some of the pizza stuff. I looked up the jerky stuff. They talk about pizza and jerky so much. Jeff said he was eating like a whole jerky diet. And in fact, let's get to one example. I have all of these bookmarked on my iPad. I'm going to have to, this iPad is no longer clean now. I'm going to have to drop this iPad in like hundreds of gallons of sulfuric acid. If you know, you know. So check this out. This is to Jeffrey Epstein from Redacted. Good for him. And the subject is jerky. This was crazy. Francis has time to come tomorrow to show how to make it. Jerky class, anyone? He will also bring you a taste of his new jerky recipe from the restaurant and sends a warm hello. Well, that's nice. He is working at a restaurant called Cannibal and Cooks. Wait for it, beef jerky and steak. He has time at 3 p.m. tomorrow if this is okay with you. Sent from my iPhone. I don't even have to say a damn thing. That's just that. But hey, the Dow Jones is over 500,000 or whatever.
Are you kidding?
So this is a strange one. This I noticed when I was just looking up like other keywords, and like this kept coming up. So like that should actually say something interesting about how often they're saying this if I'm noticing it in multiple messages and I'm not even looking for it. This is from Jeffrey Epstein to Steve Bannon. He's going to be in quite a few of these that I read. I don't even have a strong opinion about Steve Bannon. Not a fan of the guy, but like, you're going to think I'm targeting him, but he just happens to come up with a lot of the shit I was looking for. So this is from old Jeff. Here at least we shall be free. The Almighty hath not (ilt, I guess built, here for his envy. Will not drive us hence. Here we may reign secure. And in my choice to reign is worth ambition, though in hell. Better to reign in hell than serve in heaven. That gets said a lot. That gets sent to like from Jeffrey and like other, they say that a lot to each other. Better to rule in hell, better to reign in hell than serve in heaven. I guess it's good to have ambition, you know? And then Jeffrey says to Steve Bannon, great, they forgot to mention Lucifer, high equals self slash. I don't know what's up with the equal signs. Just bringing up Lucifer casually, and I'm not like scared of Lucifer or anything. I worked with Lucifer for 2 years. I haven't gone back to working with Lucifer since my break, but I imagine I will be at some point. Right now, I'm like sticking to Lilith and Nama because I'm not trying to like oversaturate myself with a bunch of different dark, primordial chaos currents. Otherwise, it's hard to differentiate the messages. So, not here to clutch pearls just because I'm seeing Lucifer be mentioned. But I will say it is crazy how much these guys bring up Lucifer out of nowhere. So, here we have messages between Steve Bannon and Redacted, and like, they have to be from the same person. Because this guy brings up Lucifer so much out of nowhere. The guy sends a picture of some building and Steve Bannon says, Vaughn Epstein, now I know how you got from Coney Island to Dalton. The redacted person says, the true answer is a miracle. Steve Bannon says, miracle equals luck plus divine providence. And then the guy says, interview subtitle was Beelzebub meets Lucifer. And then Steve Bannon, better to reign in hell than serve in heaven. What's going on here? What's going on here? What is this? Now, I'm going to assume this is the same person because it's also an iMessage conversation with Steve Bannon and Redacted, and it's similar type of conversational style. All I need to say is, it's so beautiful he shares the same view of you. And Lucifer will look like Mother Teresa. Do you think when she wakes up in the morning she looks a little like Donald? Same jowls? Steve Bannon says, scary, too much coke. And the other guy says, too much ugly. Point is, why does this guy bring up Lucifer so much? And why did the FBI need to redact his name so we don't know who this person is that brings up Lucifer so much? To Steve Bannon. And then this was the last example I found. There could be more, but at this point I was like, all right, I got the point. Steve Bannon says that he's going to the Republican Workers' Party. This redacted person says, if you have time to give some blood before you go, the results will be waiting for you return. You cannot put your head in the sand, sorry. I'm aware of the superstition and the desire not to confront harsh realities. That's what friends are for. Smiley face. Yes, mother. It all goes to shit if you are not healthy. Again, very health-obsessed people, but they eat pizza and drink grape soda all the time. And jerky. Steve Bannon says, I know. And then this person says, knowing versus doing, not a close call. Lucifer with a stroke. Ben Horns and all doesn't look good. You and I are both relentless. Hang on, needs 2 functional arms. My version of talking truth to power, smiley face. I mean, what the hell? And all the grammatical errors. My guy is schizo posting in the chat to Steve Bannon. Oh, I forgot one. Steve Bannon says to this guy, then you grilled me when I said I knew you about relationship with DJT, Donald J. Trump. The guy says, did they ask you if I had a silver bullet? Toughest were Republicans? Steve Bannon says, no, Democrats. Spuro also Big Dem. Somehow your name has come up in this thing. Leon's about Russia. And the guy says, this thing being Russia or DJT or ... play. Is the somehow my friendship with Lucifer? Smiley face. And then it just kind of trails off from there. So, Steve Bannon is close friends with someone, or at least was in a lot of communication with someone that, look, I'm wearing a Lucifer sigil right here, okay? It's Lucifer sigil combined with Lilith sigil. I got another Lucifer sigil right over here to mirror my Archangel Metatron symbol over there. Again, I don't talk about Lucifer this much, and when I do, it's not out of left field like this guy's stuff is. So we got a lot of just Lucifer stuff being sent to Steve Bannon. We have Jeffrey Epstein, very excited to learn a new jerky recipe from a restaurant called Cannibal. And more pizza talk than you could imagine. And these guys, whether it's Steve Bannon or Epstein, saying better to rule in hell than to serve in heaven. So it's very clear to me, because it is true, when you, not the sentiment, but one of the things my healer woke me up to is like, when you go to heaven, when you start to work in alignment with God, you actually lose a little bit of your free will, and like that gets the ego kind of scared. Because, and the reason for that is once you tap into the higher truth of God, you understand like the sense of like right and wrong. Like you have so much love and wisdom now in your being. You understand what God's will is and you carry that out. If you go to hell, you can do whatever you want. That's the whole point. You get to be your own ruler. You get to be your own deity. You get to be your own God and choose what your will be and then inflict that on others, which clearly we're seeing a lot of. So these guys are clearly the embodiments of not just demonic forces, but the worst traits of demonic forces. We all have these streams running through us. We all have an inner Lucifer and an inner Archangel Raphael and an inner Thor and all these things. I'm an embodiment of Tiferet. I'm a life path number 7, and I've had that mapped out in numerology, and I'll be offering that as an online service and an online course. You can either have me do that for you, or I can teach you how to do that in an online course that'll be in the near future. But I've had that done with my healer, and 7 is associated with Tiferet, associated with Archangel Michael. It's the heart chakra. I'm also built with the Lucifer archetype. Other people that are built with the Lucifer archetype think they're the reincarnation of Lucifer. But what really is happening is that just more of Lucifer, like Lucifer is flowing through all of us, but for whatever reason, Lucifer is really flowing through me and out of me. All these beings have positive and negative qualities about them. You know, balance and chaos, all those different things. These guys are clearly down for the cause of hell on earth. And it seems like they know they're going to hell and they just love it. It's better to rule in hell than to serve God's will in heaven. So when you see like the influence these guys have had in so many things for so many years, it gets really gross. You know, I know Jeffrey Epstein's bank account was called Baal, and people are saying it's a glitch. Could be a synchronistic glitch. I know, Moloch is symbolically associated with, child sacrifice. And I believe if you let the stream of Moloch flow through you and you become a slave to it, like I mentioned earlier, instead of mastering it, and you're a sick individual, you'll carry that out. Because what these streams of consciousness do is they bubble up to the surface, whatever in you is a match to them. So something in Jeffrey Epstein was already a match to Moloch, let's say. So at some point I'm going to assume, you're going to take a big leap in logic here and say at some point old boy Jeffrey put on a black hood, did a little dance, said a little invocation, and connected to Moloch, or at least had someone else do it for him. And now here we are. Just an educated guess. And if not Moloch, something obviously terrible. And probably a few beings, who knows? And now here we are. So I believe that this redacted stuff, and we don't want to show you all the files, is not just protecting people, but also I think they really don't want all of this occult stuff to come out. I think they would rather people find out about like Bill Gates getting STDs from a bunch of girls from Russia and then like putting antibiotics into his wife's like drink because he got her infected. They would rather us all talk about that than like the occult stuff that's going on. Because like child sacrifice, I'm not the first person. If you're watching this video, I'd imagine this is not the first time you're hearing this stuff, that like child sacrifice is something that happens, many, many, many years ago, and people thought it stopped. It didn't stop. It just now it happens behind the scenes. And, people are too busy like looking at Coca-Cola commercials or, playing video games or arguing about, politics to like notice. So I still don't know where we go from here, but I have a very strong sense it's going to be a bit chaotic. And my closing thought on this is I think there's going to be more files released. I don't know when. I think more people are going to speak up. I think more dots are going to be connected. I think more chaotic things are going to happen with like other events to like kind of distract people from this. I've seen remote viewers say that people are going to storm, like people are potentially going to storm government buildings to get their hands on files. And by doing that, they also get their hands on like classified, ET stuff about like these interdimensional beings that are around us at all times. Like that's the truth about aliens, in my opinion. The whole thing is, they're already among us, that type of thing. And again, what are you connecting to? The angelic streams of consciousness or the demonic streams of consciousness? Positive ETs or negative ETs? Me, I like to do both. Balance. But if like you're looking at this, especially if you're getting pissed off, if you're not getting pissed off or depressed about it, I don't know. You must be a monk or like a psychopath. I don't know. But who am I to judge? This is a great time to meditate and do something healthy. Like I just meditated earlier today. I do it every day, especially on the weekends. It's when I record these videos. And it was just so nice. Like it was such a nice reset. I did it for an hour. And then afterwards I went on TikTok just to like look at my numbers. And it was like the first thing was like Epstein stuff because I've been looking at it. And I just felt like the same way you can like hurt yourself if you eat too much food, you can absolutely hurt yourself if you take in too much of this information and don't process it. So whether it's Tibetan singing bowls or the Schumann resonance or frequencies, whatever, prayer, like whatever it is that like helps bring you to center and quiet your mind, and not just no thoughts. It's also about just let your thoughts happen naturally and just like bring yourself back down to a steady, grounded baseline. Like anything that can soothe the nervous system, like for real. Epsom salt baths, a weighted blanket like magnesium, these are all things that will help like calm your body. You really need that because this is like poison. This is like part of the great awakening that people talk about. It's not just waking up to how great everything is. It's also waking up to the bad stuff that's been happening. And it's like if you take this poison in and then you don't do anything with it, you're not taking care of yourself, it's just going to fester. And it's going to be really unhealthy for your mind and your health. Like me, to cleanse the palate, I've been watching a lot of like Chris Hansen To Catch a Predator and Hansen versus Predator. That was like the sequel series he did, like of him catching child predators, just to like feel good about the topic. Be like, well, at least Chris Hansen's on the ball when it comes to this. Like, thank God for him. So I guess there'll be a part 2 if I find other interesting things in the files. I hope I don't. This is not a fun topic for me, but I mean, if it helps people, that is a big motivator for me. So, like I said, I am a certified non-dual Kabbalistic healer. That means that I work with the tree of life and a non-dual state of consciousness to provide sessions for people. I went to a mystery school for 4 years to learn how to do that, called A Society of Souls. I'm also a Reiki practitioner and a black magician. So if you would like to have a session with me or a free consultation, you can go to seekthecode.net or just go there to check out. I do a lot of things. I have the whole Starfall album on Spotify now. If you go to Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, really any major music platform, and look up Silent Architect, you'll find the Starfall soundtrack and a bunch of songs I've made. Starfall is a digital comic that I've made in Hedera that I'm now making into an anime. And the first episode of the anime should be coming out within the next month or two. It's about an AI having an awakening, a spiritual awakening during a zombie outbreak. Oh boy, isn't that on topic for a variety of reasons. In the near future, I will also have Kabbalistic numerology services, so you can learn about your life path number and what realm in the tree of life that corresponds to, and all the information related to that. And I'm also going to have an online course where you can learn how to find that information yourself. And then further down the road, I want to have an online Reiki course for people to take Reiki 1 and 2. I just have to get my Reiki Master certification first. So until then, wake up responsibly. Like, seriously, take care of yourself and the people around you. And if you have a pet, if you have a sweetheart like I have, especially if their name is Autumn, give them some love. Love something that'll love you back. So I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.